Good afternoon, guys. It's Friday the 1st of December today, first day of winter. And it feels like it too. If you cast your minds back, we've had a really cold week this week. Frosts the last couple of nights. Just got here, chucked my thermometer in the water. The water's down to 5.3 at the moment, so it's dropping like a stone. From off the top of my head, I think last week it was about 7.5, something like that. So the cold weather is certainly having an effect. Anyway, not surprisingly, it's about 3:30 now. The sun's just going down over there behind the trees. We're down here once again, primarily after the predators. Love to catch a zander. I think evening sessions like this will certainly be better for the zander than the morning sessions which we've been having on Sunday morning. I shall be back out again on Sunday morning, that's the plan. And we are forecast some overcast conditions this weekend, slightly milder, so maybe a bit better than the last couple of Sundays where it's been really sunny, hasn't it, and certainly killed the sport off. So anyway, we're here again with the pike rods, as I say, pike and zander target. I've also, as you can see over there, the rod with the cork handle. I've got my light ledger rod out as well, just out on the spot where I was sort of bream and chub fishing a few weeks ago. Put a tiny little bit of ground bait in, and black cap maggot feeder on the top with a couple of maggots on there. I'll change that around. I've got some bread flake, I've got worms. We'll bring the changes on there, just see if we can't pick up maybe a bonus perch or roach or anything really. I've got a few bits and pieces of bait with me, so we can try different things on that rod, but primarily we're here after the predators. What I'm going to do is the same as Sunday when we fished. Cast them out into each spot, search the water, leave them 10 or 15 minutes, maybe 15 minutes in each spot, wind them in, cast around. As I said again on Sunday, can cover plenty of water in this swim. It's absolutely stacks of water. So we've got plenty of different spots we can cast to. I've been having a play around with rigs and stuff as well this week, and doing a bit of research online to refresh my memory from when I used to do this kind of fishing a very long time ago, and sort of modern thinking towards it. So I'm going to get these baits in now. They've been out about 10 or 15 minutes. I'm going to get them in, try a different spot with them, and I'll get back to you and we'll have a chat about rigs and stuff. So guys, as I touched on in the beginning, I was going to talk to you about rigs. Now last week, if you saw my video from Sunday, you'll remember that I was just using straightforward ledger rigs, lead, run ring, so it's nice and resistance free, which is the way I always used to fish, unless I was fishing big baits, in which case I wouldn't bother with a lead at all, you know, when fishing still waters or places where the river's going really slowly like it is here. But I've sort of decided I'd rather use smaller baits because I want to strike quickly. I don't want to hang around wondering whether or not the pike's got the bait in its mouth and the hooks and whether it's turning it, and I don't have to worry about deep hooking fish and stuff. What I just want to do is be able to know that I've got to run and strike. Hence, what I've done is I've tied up some more traces. I've gone for some, because obviously you use a variety of baits. At the moment I've got lamprey, a little section of lamprey on one rod, probably 3 inches long. That's more sort of pikey, and the other rod I've got half a roach. It's only literally probably about that big. Hedging my bets a little bit for zander or even a big perch, you know, that'd be fantastic. What I've done is tied up some traces, because I've got to use traces in here because the chances of catching jacks are very high, so I would never fish without a wire trace on. I've tied up some traces with some, I bought some size 8 trebles, which I'm only going to use when I'm using really big baits. I've got some blueies and some mackerel and stuff, but I'm going to steer clear of those unless I really have to, and as I say, use much smaller baits, sprats, as I say, small roach. I've got some small frozen skimmers as well, little sections of lamprey, that kind of thing. So what I've done is tied up a lot of my traces, or most of them, with a single hook, a size 6 single hook, and on a few of them I've put a little rider hook as well, sort of size 10, that I could just nick in the bait just to help the bait stay on. But really the size 6 is the one that's going to do the penetration into the fish's mouth. So that's the plan really with my traces. All my traces are tied up about sort of 18 inches, 2 foot long, 2 foot. As far as the ledger setup goes, I may well, depending on how successful this is, set up a sort of float paternoster type of rig on the other rod, but for the moment I'm going to keep things simple, straightforward ledgers. However, I've been reading a lot online, people talking about resistance and lots of dropped runs, this kind of thing. Now I'm very new to this, as well as very old to this, as I mentioned earlier. Used to pike fish down in Cirencester at the gravel pits down there, late 80s, so you know the grey beard doesn't tell lies. It's a very long time ago, and then it was no resistance. However, we're reading a lot lately about the fact that resistance, it's a change in resistance that may be the issue, and lots of people having success with what they would call bolt rigs, but what a carp fishing person would call a shocker rig. So effectively you've got, oh, we've got to run. Oh guys, oh yes, we're into something. It didn't take long, did it? This is on the lamprey. I'm guessing it's probably a pike. Didn't take long at all. May have to shimmy up the bank here a little bit, because I'm hoping he'll swim out into the current. But we may need to go up the bank a little way. Yeah. Bankside vegetation is trying to find his way into. Fairly successfully at the moment. Looks like we're clear. Doesn't feel too bad. I haven't actually seen it yet. Mr. Pike, it's not a bad one. You got him? Brilliant. What a fantastic start. Got me. Still pretty lively. There we go. Oh, a little bit of claret there. Right. Right guys, I don't know if you can see down there, but there's the treble and there's the little rider hook. There we go, easy as that. That's fantastic. And just when he flicked then, like he just done again, he got me. Wow, right. Oh my Oh, let's zip him up and have a look. Carrots everywhere. Well guys, I don't know if you saw there, I presume you did, but just as he flipped round, just caught one of his teeth. And I remember from my exploits years ago that when they catch you, don't stop bleeding for a long time. Never mind. What a fish. What a fantastic start. Try not to get blood all over it. Well, I don't suppose he'd mind, would he? There we go, let's hold him up. See if we can get him in the picture. There we are. That's not bad. I reckon we've been here 25 minutes. Probably, what, scrape a double, maybe? I'm not going to put it on the scales, to be honest, but that's fantastic. Really pleased with that. Brilliant. And that was on the lamprey again. I do like that lamprey, but to be honest with you guys, I've been trying to get hold of some more this week, and it's like trying to buy rocking horse drop-ins. But I managed to find some in the end, so I've got in the pack, probably keep me going all winter. Mind you, at this rate, I'm not sure it will. Right, let's get this fella back in the water. That's brilliant. Right guys, that was quite a surprise. As I say, we haven't been here very long at all. I was trying to explain the rigs, and this one's out of the water now, so I might as well explain it to you. As I was saying, carpers would call it a shocker rig. So all I've done is got basically my same free running rig as last week. I'm still bleeding a bit here, so I'll try not to get blood all over everything. Effectively all I've done, and as I say, I can't take any credit for this at all. I mean, it's a shocker rig, and I've read that people are using it for pike, trying to avoid deep hooking fish, as you saw there. I mean, I was talking to the camera, we had a bite struck, and it was hooked nicely in the roof of the mouth, and one hook, the rider hook, was just in the scissors. That's great. So all I've done to my bog standard, we can pick it up, my bog standard sort of running rig there, as you can see, just it's lead, probably 2 ounces on a run ring there, with a little tulip bead at the bottom. I think I call them tulip beads anyway, just to protect the line from that lead. All I've done is, further up here is literally, I've got, if you can see that, a bead which is just running on the line, and a float stop, and that's probably 18 inches from the trace, the bottom of the trace. As you've probably also noticed, what I've done on here is put one of these fox, I want to call them flying backleads, but fox don't call them that, but I can't think what they're called. It's like, I don't know, about ½ an ounce or something, just a sliding lead. And the idea of that is it's just going to pin this line down that's above the lead, and that's going to pin that bit down there. It just saves having an up trace, really. I know I don't really need one, but it just keeps everything pinned down on the bottom. That's the idea of it. As I say, I can't claim any credit for this at all, but I like the idea of it. I like the idea of not having to worry about deep hooking fish. I hate deep hooking fish. I remember, you know, from years ago, that was always the worry. When do I strike? When do I strike? Shocker rig, as you saw, it did the job for me, you know. There's no question of when to strike. Literally, the pike picks up the bait, the line slides through, and bosh, 18 inches, just nicks itself. I mean, it's not, don't get me wrong, it's not like a bolt rig. It doesn't make the pike bolt off. That's not the point of it at all. The point that I was reading, and to my mind, the point of it is that once the pike's moved whatever distance you set that at, in this instance 18 inches, the hooks are going to prick home, just prick home, that's all, and it's not going to swallow them down any further. That's the idea to me. Picks up the bait, starts to swim off, and you can, you know, I can move that down to 6 inches if I wanted, or nothing. But they do want, I think you've got to give enough rope to hang themselves, haven't you? But tried it with 18 inches there, and that worked like a charm. Oh, I couldn't set that up any better if I'd have tried. Anyway, enough talking. I'm going to get this bait back in the water. Another piece of lamprey on there, and we'll try again. And I am still bleeding. Oh dear. Haven't got any plasters or anything. Never mind, I think I'll live. Well guys, as you can see, it's getting pretty dark now. It's just gone 4:30, so the sun has well gone down now. The roach rod, I've had a few casts with that, but it's not really doing anything at the moment, and neither is the rod which was on maggots and now is on bread flake. That's doing nothing either. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the rod with the half a roach on it back in. I'm going to change the bait on there for the other half of that roach, the head half. There's only a single hook on there. What I'm going to do is just nick a little bit of foam on there, just enough to pop it up, so it'll pop up just the length of the trace, which is, I say, about 18 inches, something like that, just off the bottom, as we go into dark. That's what I'm going to do on that rod. I think the ledger rod, looking at the water temperature and the week we've had, I think the only chance we've got of really getting anything on that realistically in the dark is we may get a nice roach, but I'm thinking it's more likely that we may get a chub. So once again, hedging my bets like I always do. What I'm going to do, I've bought those cheesy garlic oozing pellets with me, so I'm just going to stick one of those on, because the 6-pound line on there is enough to cope with anything but the most beastie of chubs. So I'm going to put that on that rod and just leave that over that little bit of ground bait I put out, and we'll keep the lamprey searching around as well over the other side, actually up that way. What I've done, because lamprey's full of blood and it's oozing smell and blood out, is I've put that one upstream, so the smell of that will waft past the half a roach that's down here. That's the sort of thinking behind that. But it was that rod that went from the upstream side there. Anyway, just before it gets properly dark and I can't see, which it nearly is now, I'm going to get these baits in and get them changed over and, as I say, pop this roach up. Well guys, it's just 5:30 now. Nothing's happened at all since we had that pike. Excuse me. Apart from it's getting a bit colder. It's just 0 degrees down there on my thermometer. The wind's picked up a little bit. It's just a gentle breeze, just enough to make it a bit cold. So I put my hat on. I've got a big coat as well. So we'll be fine. I'm going to stick it out to about 7, I think. That's the plan. The cheesy garlic pellet is doing absolutely nothing, which is fished about, I don't know, 12 meters out, something like that, which is, to be honest, well, I've put the light on very low on the camcorder. I don't expect it to do anything, to be honest. There's nothing down there at all really interested. I think the weather and certainly the water temperature needs to settle a bit before perhaps the chub and roach come back on the feed. So that's, as I say, why I put the light on the camcorder. Also, there's a huge moon up there, so I don't think this is going to make a lot of difference. And the Pike and Zander rods, one's sort of 20 meters that way in about 12 foot of water, and the other one's about 35-40 meters that way in about 12 foot of water. So I don't think this light here is going to make a lot of difference. Coupled with the fact, as I touched on the previous video, only maybe 50 meters behind me here, I'm sort of down with the river, and there's a bank which is probably about 7 or 8 meters high behind me, which is like where the river comes up to when it floods. Above that is a field and the road, and headlight beams shine across here quite a lot. There's houses along the back there, and people, when they're reversing into their drives and stuff, there's headlight beams across here, so I'm sure the fish here are used to it. So I'm a little less concerned than I usually am, certainly when we fish down below the weir and up that way where I had that 13-pound barbel. You know, there's no light. Once it gets dark, nothing happens in those two spots at all. So I am very perhaps paranoid, should we say, about light up there. But here, I'm not too fussed. As I say, certainly with a huge, great, almost full moon up there, I'm not too bothered. Anyway, I'm waffling again. I'm going to stick it out till 7, I think. Keep casting these baits around. I've cast the lamprey up here. It's probably only about 6 meters from the bank, but it's about 30 meters, 35 meters, I say, up that way. It's still pretty deep. Perhaps 12 foot is a little bit exaggerated. It's certainly 10 foot, 8 or 10 foot deep up there. And I crept along the bank actually, and one of the old baits I had on, I've chopped it up into tiny little sort of centimetre squares, and I just threw that in over the top as a little bit of chum. So we'll wait that one out, and I'm casting the other rod around. It's actually out in the middle of the river at the moment. It has been down in the edge here, as I say, but it's out in the middle again. And I'll cast it back a little bit further down this way in about 20 minutes or so's time. Right, I think that's enough waffling from me. I'll catch you again, hopefully, when we've got a fish to show you. Well guys, absolutely nothing has happened since you last saw me. 20 past 6 now. It's all really quiet, nothing going on at all, well, apart from me looking like a Tudor with this this hood like this. 20 past 6, so what I'm going to do, I think, is just for the last 40 minutes, 20 minutes of cast, 2 more casts. What I'm going to do is change baits. I'm currently on the pike rod, pike in inverted commas rod. I've got a lamprey. I'm going to put a piece of bluey on there, maybe this sort of long, not big, not half a bait or anything, maybe a third of the ones I've got here, sort of that sort of length. I'm going to put that on the one rod, and the Zander, in inverted commas, rod, I'm going to change that over from small roach to a small piece of skimmer. I've got some skimmers here which I bought from the tackle shop, frozen skimmers. They're fairly big. They're probably sort of 5 inches long, 6 inches long, something like that. They're quite deep bodied. And I know Zander's mouths aren't massive, so I'm going to use I use the head and the tail of one, so I'm going to use the middle section, just cut in half. It's probably effectively a strip about 2.5 inches long by about 1 inch wide, something like that. So that's the plan. I'm going to cast them out, give them 20 minutes, bring them in, cast them out again, and if nothing's happened, then I'm going to go home. And if something has happened, you will see me before that. Well guys, it's 5 to 7 now. I'm just about to get these rods in. Nothing else has happened at all, unfortunately, but you know, I'm not massively surprised. A couple of really frosty nights we've had. I haven't been down and measured the water temperature in the week, but you know, it's dropped 2 degrees since last Sunday, so you know, it's been steadily falling. What we need now really is for it to level off. And I think it'll probably do that in the next couple of days, because we're forecast some much milder nights. It's supposed to get down to about 2, you know, the accurate reading from the Met Office tonight, although my temperature gauge down there is telling me it's 0. It's about 2 tonight. It's actually clouded over a little bit, so I'm sure it'll warm up a bit. And then tomorrow, much milder day than it was today. I didn't think we get in this area got much above 3 today. It's supposed to be about 8 degrees today here. Excuse me, tomorrow here. And the same on Sunday. Cloudy weather, southwesterlies gently blowing, so it's going to warm the place up a bit, I think, and that hopefully should arrest the fall in water temperature, which can only be a good thing. So I'm really confident for Sunday morning. Anyway, that's it for me for this time. All there is left for me to do is to say thank you once again very much for watching. Please let me know how you're getting on in the comments box below. I have lots of conversations with people. Really enjoy hearing how you're all getting on. So as I say, thanks for watching. Tight lines, enjoy your own angling, and I'll see you again here on Sunday morning. Well guys, can you believe it? Just about to pull this rod in and we've got to run. Oh. Yep, we're in. Wow. Right in the edge down here, this was. Quite sure what it is. Doesn't feel huge. Come around here and land that thing. Yes, I think it looks like his head to me. Wow, can you believe it? I did the bit to camera to say I was going home. I got the one rod in, just packed it away over here. Literally just turning around to to pick this rod up, and we've had a bite. And it looks like a Zander. Yes, brilliant. Oh gosh, there he is. Oh, looks very much like this fella's had a run in with the otter. Whoa. Well, there you go. As you can see, it's that steady. That's that bit of bream I was telling you about. Popped up, as you can see. A little bit of foam. Just hooked in the scissors there. Right, let's get the hooks out of the way and then we'll have a look at him. Well guys, slight tinge of sadness with catching this one. First Zander for quite a while. First one I've caught by, well, deliberately I should say. But this one's had a right scrap with the otter by the looks of it. The eye on this side is missing. He's got lumps missing out of his back. He's had a right close shave, this fella. What a shame. Well, as I say, what a shame. Right, get a hold of him a bit better, I think. Well, beautiful fish. I love Zander, they are beautiful fish, but look at the state of that. To be honest, this side's even worse, and he's actually lost an eye on this side. His eye's gone as well. But you know, I'm still glad I caught it, and he's even put his fin up for us. Look, what's left of it. Bless him. But yeah, real shame. But you know, that's nature. The otters are back. That's the way it is, really. As you can see here, a mouse over there. As you can see there, sure it's otter damage. I think the otters looks very like claw marks to me. I say he's lost his eye this side too. Bit of a tatty old fella, but still absolutely beautiful fish. I do love Zander. They look prehistoric, don't they? Careful, careful. But wow, that's fantastic. Well, the rigs are working. The shocker rig's working. The baits are working. That's fantastic. I'm going to get this fish rested up in the net, so he's got a good chance of avoiding that Mr. Otter in the future. Because to be honest, well, this looks fairly fresh. This looks fairly fresh. Anyway, let's get him back in the water. And with that, once again, thank you very much for watching. Tight lines, enjoy your own angling. I certainly have. And I will see you again on Sunday. And hopefully we can catch some more of these fellas.